Well, we're just about ready to go here with Kade Mills and Senior Get the Money. Dixie, the pretty little chestnut colt filly that when Kade got first draw or first pick, this is the one he went to right away. And from what we saw this morning, it looked like that was a pretty good choice for Kade. We're really lucky here this time. We have three great horsemen and three terrific fillies with great minds, and it's just a wonderful matchup to see these guys and their ability to bring out the potential. So we are about ready. Where did Kade go?
I'm right here. I'm good, Hugh.
Yep. Anytime you're ready, Kade, step in, and when you shut the gate, I'll start the clock. You know the drill, 45 minutes from now.
Yes, sir. Okay, if you guys saw our earlier session, as you can tell, this mare's pretty sweet. And she's pretty easy to talk to, but just watching her at the gate there, she's got some little bit of anxiety there in the face that we're gonna have to talk through. See, maybe she's just a little itchy, but even when I was working her earlier, she's getting predominantly more pushy. And she was getting a little sticky in my last session, so it's something we're gonna have to work on here. But I think she'll take it pretty good. She took the saddle really nice. Hey. There. She took the saddle really good. She showed a little bit of buck, but nothing to speak of. So what I wanna do here is get some halter work going on her before I start brushing or getting prepared to saddle. I'd like to get her moving out a little freer off the halter, and when I ask her to move her feet, even right there, she's got to learn to draw a line right there that those type of things are going to be unacceptable. So what I'm going to do is use those things to my advantage. When she starts to get pushy, it's a good reason for me to start moving her around and start talking to her. I want her really responding well to pressure, so when I ask her to move her feet, I want her to be really light. And I want her really responding well to the pull of the halter. So last session I did, I moved her side to side so I could move her hips and her shoulders away from me while her remaining soft in the face. Create some bend. And then I finished the session with some backup. And that's where I'm gonna remind her, but you can see as soon as I let go, her first reaction is to push into me all the time. And that's what I was talking about with the pushing. I think that's where she's gonna keep getting herself into trouble until I can teach her to stop doing that. So that might be a good place to start here. Even there, just as soon as I let go, I like that she wants to be with me, but she's got to learn to have a little bit of boundaries there. There. And I think she's just got a little bit of town sour. She'd rather be back out in the field right now doing what she wants to do. So all I got to do is sweet talk her here a little bit. Hey. There, that's looking a little better. Until you start pawing at the ground.
Thinking of laying down and having a roll, maybe.
Well, she's a good girl. I'll leave her 5 minutes to roll. How's that? We'll make a compromise there. Good. That is another unacceptable behavior. And like I was saying in the early session, all these things are giving me an excuse to start working her and making her better prepared to ride, as well as addressing things that are gonna come up when I'm on her. So I'm kind of instilling a pattern here that if you're gonna get rude and anxious, I'm gonna work you. So the same thing's gonna happen when I ride her until I can take that out of her. There, she kind of says a little bit of sorry, so we're gonna forget all that stuff happened. Thank you. And I gotta make sure when she gets sassy and kind of bratty, it doesn't make me change my approach. Regardless of what she's doing, I'm gonna build my pressure the same, and my expectation of her is gonna remain the same. So there, if you see me tapping on her, it's not because she's pawing and throwing a little sissy fit, it's because she's not moving off of pressure. And I wanna make sure I'm really clear to her about that. I would never just tap on a horse or whack a horse for doing something wrong. If I ask you to move and you don't move, I'm going to build pressure until you do. So regardless of the fight. Same when I ride. If I add leg, I expect you to move off the leg. That's getting a little better. Now with this mare, I truly think my trick to this deal with her, or if I had her in training, if I can get her with me and I can get her brain in a good frame of mind, the finals are going to be no problem. But if I don't have her with me and in a good frame of mind, when we get to that big arena, it's very likely that she just sells me out. So we're going to practice that pattern right now of working her till she'll stay with me.
Excuse me, exhibitors, you're looking for the owner of a white Jeep, CKS 6974, CKS 6974. You are parked blocking someone. Please look at the vehicle. Thank you.
There.
Some people might say, is that a mare thing? That kind of pushiness, a little bit of sassiness?
You know, I hear that a lot, and it's funny because you hear people that say, looking for a horse will not even look at a mare. I think horses and people are a lot of the same. I've met some mares that will change your mind, and I've met some mares that will make you believe every bad thing you've ever heard about a mare. But one thing I will say to that from my experience is that once you have a good mare, you're going to need a stud to be as good as that, because a gelding will not compete with a good mare.
Right.
A couple mare owners in the crowd, eh? I wonder if it's all ladies clapping.
A lot of the bigger ranches don't want any mares in their cavy or their remuda. Their main reason for that is what happens when they're turned out together sometimes with mares and geldings and heat periods and that kind of thing. But there are other darn good cowboys and other ranches that say, no, mares are just fine. And
you know, it's been my experience with that, and we have a herd at home with one mare and 4 geldings. The mare is never the problem. It's the fact that the mares make the gelding an idiot. That's the problem. It's never the mare doing anything wrong. It makes them geldings lose their mind. So I guess that's kind of like high school. This filly here just kind of happened to get into her a little bit there in the halter. I feel like we made some good headway there, and it's a lot to take in for her right now. So once I feel like I've got kind of the check mark in an area, I know I'm going to have to go back and address that kind of sassiness and the bat in the face that I had found. But I want to make sure that I pick my battles there with her, and I also pick my time that when she gets better, I give her a solid enough release and a solid enough of change of something and go do something she likes, so I keep her on my side. If she does something really good and the best she's ever done it, and I just keep asking for more, I have a feeling she will close off on me a little bit. So now we've got side to side, really good, I feel like, and I'd finished with some backup, and I'd really like to continue on with that. And what I'm going to do to continue on with that is I'm going to teach this filly to ground tie. I really like my horses to ground tie before I saddle. So as I'm doing it, I'll kind of walk you guys through it, but the gist of it is when the rope's on the ground, don't move your feet. I don't use any visual or verbal commands. I don't say whoa or stand or knock it off. Just drop the rope and walk away. And when I leave, I want to do it in a way that she sees a difference and feels that rope on the ground. I don't want to linger with her and then kind of slowly sneak away like Elmer Fudd hunting rabbits. I want her to really see Kade left, and then when she walks off, she feels that rope on the ground as she walks over it right there, and that's where she's going to notice the difference of what just happened. Then when she walks off, she'll feel that change, and immediately after that change, she's going to feel me back her up. And then the trick to this that I really find makes it work is every time you back her up, you don't back her up a certain amount of steps, you back her up until she's soft. So same reason every time. So what I'm going to be getting done here is I'm going to be teaching this colt to stand still, or this filly, and I'm going to be making my back up a little better. In this day and age, people expect you to do 60 days worth of work in 30, so you better be getting 2 at 1 done. Hey. And for a horse that wants to be in your pocket all the time, I knew this is something I was going to have to address. This is a really cool pattern, a really cool thing to teach your horse, because there's nothing I can do to help her. I have to continue the pattern until she makes a good decision, and then I reward that good decision. But I can't hold her. I can't manipulate her in any way. There's no aid to this at all. It is just her deciding, I won't move my feet. Right there, you see she noticed the rope on the ground. Then she goes to leave. Walk the line a little bit there. Now, it's not something I usually teach a lot in a trainer challenge just because it's a time deal. But in this, I feel like I have more than enough time with this filly to get her where it needs to be. So this is going to be something that really helps her personality. Good girl. Thank you. I told you to get ready for them claps, sweetie. It means good girl. Hey. There. That backup's really coming along good. The forward's there too. Don't get stiff. Forward didn't work. Let's head for the gate. It's all right. If she's doing something different every time, that means she's starting to try to figure it out. She didn't turn and run. Got to look on the bright side, I guess. Good girl. Good girl. Thank you. Thanks for waiting. I could feel you guys kind of like, do I clap? That was great. Good timing. Okay, time to get her saddled. Now, when I saddle one for the second time, I kind of going to go at it like I haven't saddled her before, just to give her the best shake here. I want her to really be comfortable with the saddle. And then if she gets a little grumpy about the saddle, we can address that. But she did have a little nerves with it there this morning when I was padding her. She didn't move, but you could tell her she was getting tense. So I want to give her the best chance of being good all the way through this show. And like I say, they give us enough time to do this stuff, so I'm going to use it. Good girl. Good girl, Dixie. Good girl, sweetie.
Even the art of floating the saddle onto a colt's back is something that you'll notice all three of these guys are doing it pretty much the same way. And it's the easiest way to have it come up there without any surprises. Sometimes I've seen folks lift it up over their back with both hands and set it on, and the theory is that makes it seem like a predator, mountain lion, or bear right up above them, whereas when it floats on like that, it's not near as big a threat.
I find it's like throwing hay. You see a big guy who can't throw hay very good, and then you see his wife pull it behind her back and chuck it on top of a truck.
Yeah.
There's a good way of doing it, and there's a hard way of doing it, so you can tell people that have done it a lot, that's for sure. Hey. Okay, so it's the pull and the cinch into her right now to where she's getting a little, she's reacting to that. So what I'm going to do is I'm not pulling it tight. I'm just pulling it in and out enough times to kind of get her to realize that I'm not walking on eggshells here. And that's what it's going to feel like every time. Gosh, it sure feels like Alberta weather in here. You stand by that door getting ready and you're so cold, you're like, I need a coat. You come out here and you're dying. It's like the winter we had, plus 15, minus 37, plus 15, minus 37. There you go, sweetie. Good job.
Yeah, whatever form it takes, boy, it's good to see the moisture, though, especially in the south, but pretty well anywhere, except Winnipeg. We're at 30 minutes now, Kade. 30 minutes.
Okay. There again, she's just kind of walking off as I'm playing with this stuff. So instead of walking on eggshells, I'm going to start moving stuff and kind of giving her a lot of it so she starts to get over this. And then when she stands still, I'll go ahead and move. Or sorry, go ahead and stop. Wonder if she's thinking, I don't know what to do, but he has been backing me up for the last 20 minutes. Maybe I'll try that. Hey, atta girl. Not the hat. The hat doctor just fixed it for me. Good girl.
Yeah, there's kind of a thing in the cowboy code. If your hat gets knocked off, that you got to buy the boys a beer or something like that.
Yeah, it's a case of beer for sure.
Yeah, or in some challenges, they knock off your hat, it's 10 points. If they step on your foot, it's 20 points. If they step on your fingers, it's 40 points.
It should be. Funny thing is no matter how many points it is, you're not going to catch a cowboy in here with a runaway string, will you? Hey. Okay. Now I'm going to start by, I want to turn her loose and send her around with the saddle and let her kind of feel some forward motion with the saddle underneath her. And I was talking about needing to create forward motion. Before I work a horse at liberty with the saddle on, I want to make sure I move her around enough that I can see my saddle's fitting her well. Because once I turn her loose, if something goes wrong, I don't want that saddle moving off to the side of her or falling underneath. I want to make sure she's buttoned up nice and tight. Just being able to send her around here at a jog with this 12-foot rope and have her not pulling away from me sure gives me a lot of excitement for getting on and riding her. If I was getting drug around right now, I'd really be nervous to step on her. But if she can kind of stay hooked to a line and get out there and be open to suggestion while she's jogging around, I sure feel like riding her is going to be a lot of fun. See there, if I lift and she moves, how I won't tap her, and I've been really trying to create that in her there. So I think of that like a squeeze with the leg. It's something that comes on before any kind of pressure and tells her to move, so it doesn't always have to be a bump and it doesn't always have to be a whip. She looks just right there, though. I can't complain about that. Good girl. Go ahead and clap. Give it to her. She needs to get over that. Oh, yeah. A lot going on, eh? Good girl. All right. Fix my breast collar here. You guys ever notice that they make breast collars for Clydesdales and then sell them to people who ride quarter horses? I'm always doubling them around and punching 37 holes in them. I wish once they would just make a breast collar that fit a quarter horse.
I made the mistake one time of putting my halter shank, I'd buckled the breast collar with the halter shank stuck behind it. And horse, of course, pulled back, broke my nice Bob Kaufman breast collar, and told Billy, we're going to have to replace that. And then that evening, nice day in June, we're going to have our happy hour around the fire. So she's coming out of the house with a drink in each hand and the phone inside her shirt. And the phone rings. And she says, oh man, I think I got a new breast collar here.
Every time you start a story, I'm just waiting for it. That was like the corduroy one. I was thinking, oh, corduroy pillow, that don't sound comfortable. And then you hit me with the headline and the punchline at the same time and got me. I was thinking about that for the last couple hours. Okay, my saddle feels like it's going to stay on her. I got my breast collar there so I don't have to button her up too tight. Back cinch looks pretty good. We're ready to go ahead and turn her loose and let her get out and feel the saddle. Again, my biggest focus on a horse like her, because she's not real timid and kind of scared of pressure, is to get right into teaching her how to understand pressure in a way that she's going to be soft when I get on her. If I can't move her feet on the ground, I'm naive to think when I step on her it's going to be any different. So when I send her out here, I want to kind of work her through this, let her get up into a lope, let her change eyes a few times and kind of see that saddle out of both eyes. But a lot of it is to see that I can move her around this big round pen without having to pedal this whip the entire time, like a metronome of whipping on this horse. So there, she's kind of pushing back into me, so I'm going to start that whip. There's a little buck in there. Not enough to get excited about. She's the ones that you got to watch, because she sure didn't show a whole lot, and then she shows a touch of it. And I always think, like, are you playing me right now? Good girl. Nice job. She has such a way of winning me over. Thank you. Oh, run to me. Good girl, sweetheart. I appreciate it, but not quite yet. I don't want to scold her for coming into the middle, so I kind of let her come in. It's not something I want her to be aggressive about. If she came in really fast and heavy and wasn't as sweet as she is there, I wouldn't allow it. But she does kind of have that look on her face where you're like, all right, come on in here. Atta girl. You got to get out there and feel that. I've let her stop for softening that head a few times, so now she thinks it's how she's going to put on the brakes. Atta girl. Now she's moving out there real pretty. Good job. Yeah. She's like, well, I'm not coming in there now. You just keep pushing me back out. Don't change eyes. You see how her first reaction there was to put me on that other eye, and it's kind of her bit of an evasion to me pushing her anymore. She's thinking if she gets on that other side, I won't push her anymore. So I don't want trouble switching eyes when I ride her. So I'm going to address that here while I can. And I'll just stop, and as long as she keeps me on that left eye, I'll be happy. But there, I drew a line in the sand, and she stomped on it. I was like, don't go past this line. There, that's good enough. I'll push her again. I want her to be as confident on the left eye as she is going to be on the right. So if every time I stop, she switches eyes on me, it shows me that she's trying to evade me being on that side. So all I got to do to address that is just start her up again until when she stops, I can still see that left eye. And then it's kind of the same as in the brushing. You see how she has a hard time kind of standing still? She's a little fidgety. Just a good excuse to send her back out again until she looks like she's moving soft and pretty. Then I'll stop. See how she handles it? Much better. Just be comfortable in your own skin there, Dixie. And I'll go ahead and get the right eye. Come on. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl, sweetheart. Thank you. Okay, you're going to have to move back out. You got to learn how to control yourself a little bit when they clap, because I'm fixing to get on you here in a minute. And there'll be some joker in the crowd that'll wait till I'm in a hard situation and then just go to clapping. Atta girl. Now, when you talk about pressure here with this lunge whip, the idea is I'm going to build my pressure the same with the taps on the halter, and I'm going to build my pressure the same with my legs when I ride her. So what I'm trying to do here is how I build that pressure and how I build that energy. I want it to remain the same all the way through. So when I start adding my legs, it's a pattern she can relate to. Now it'll be a different application, but it'll be something that she can Be like, okay, it's that building of pressure. Okay, there I get a release. All right, this is what he's looking for. And if your patterns remain consistent, it's really easy to move them into another transition of their training. And that's what I think groundwork is for. I think it started because we were tired of getting bucked off, but it's evolved a little bit more now. There you go. Oh, she saw you, Patty. Good girl. And then that real pretty face just staring at you. All right, you'll let her come in. Good girl. Yeah, you can put that on if you want. I think we're good. Good girl. She's like, whoa, are you pushing me? That's a good girl. Hey, good job, sweetie.
Boy, so much depends on how they read your intent, doesn't it?
They really do, and it's a good way to put that is they got to read the play, because if they think the rope is pressure, you're going to have a hard time getting anything done with the rope. And if they relate everything you do to mean move their feet, they're going to have a hard time understanding the rest of their life. They get really hard to ride. So I want her to look to my energy for sure. Okay. Get some of our clutter out of here. It's okay. Thanks. I can just set it here. I might need that brush again at the end of our session. Okay. So now I got to get this horse to where she's comfortable with me crawling up on her. And sometimes this can be a bit of a challenge for a young horse, is to feel somebody hanging off the side of them. What makes me feel like I'm going to get away with this, or that it's going to go well, is there when she's really, really, really soft in the face. I'm barely asking her to bend right there, and she's giving me everything I'm asking for. So if I go to jump up in this stirrup and something were to go wrong, I feel like I could pull on her and I could talk to her. If I didn't feel like I could talk her out of it, I wouldn't even bother trying. First thing I'm going to do is teach her to hold the weight. So here I'm just going to keep pushing on this saddle until she'll anchor that right foot into the ground. There you see her getting really strong. So she's ready to take that pressure. Now I'm going to try that other leg so she's ready to get on both sides. And what this does is it makes sure when I step into that stirrup, I don't pull her off her feet. I want her to feel like she can hold my weight there, because sometimes they're really good to get on, but as soon as you step in the stirrup, it throws them off balance, and then they kind of freak out and buck you off. So anything I can do, like I said, groundwork, right? Keeps you from getting bucked off. Good girl. And it teaches her to kind of hold there a little bit too, so when that cinch pulls into her here, she's not going to panic. I'm going to try that to the left one more time, and then I think she's ready for me to start getting on her. She ain't going to stand still for this. The odds of her standing still for me to get on are pretty slim. You're going to run out of room. I just about got docked 20 points. She about stepped on my foot. Hey, I get that you want to move off of pressure. You just need to pick your battles, sweetie. It's funny where you end up spending your time sometimes on colts. I would have bet you $100 this would took me 2 seconds. Good girl. Well, I'm going to have to give that another go for sure, just to make sure she feels good about it. No. Good girl. Okay. So when I step up on her, I'm only going to go halfway. And I'm going to make sure that I can stand in this stirrup. And if she's nervous, I'm going to try to stay there as long as I can and talk her out of it. And as soon as she feels comfortable, I'm going to step down. I don't want her to be any more sore in the belly than she needs to be. And she might be a little sore. So we found our limit of what she can take. Good girl. You're making me be more athletic than I feel today. I don't want to quit unless I have to. If I have to, I will. And it's that same thing I found in the horn that was causing her a little grief. As soon as that saddle pulls into her, she wants to start moving her feet. So there, if I can just be quiet long enough to let her find some comfort, it's going to get her a little confidence with that. Okay, babe, we're going to get that left before we go to the right, because
15 and a half minutes left. Kade, 15 and a half minutes.
thanks you, Hugh.
That was better.
Much better. That's her story. She's just going to get better every time, aren't you, Dixie? The other one was named Reba, but isn't Reba a redhead? This one I thought would have been Reba. Guess the other one's a red roan. There. Now, before I have to stay up here too long, I want to ask her to move to feel like I can control them feet a little bit once I'm committed to her. That ain't good. That's good. There, that's really good. Good girl. Nice job. Thank you. Now, when I'm doing my groundwork here, sometimes people will say, what can I do to make sure they don't buck? I think about it differently. I want to feel like if she does buck, I can talk her out of it. And then if she doesn't buck, great. But if I'm just hoping she doesn't buck and that's the only way I'm going to feel safe, I'm not that much of a gambler that 50-50 is going to make me feel good. So right now, getting her soft in the face, and there when I pulled on her and she gets even softer, that makes me feel like if she did buck, I could pull her out of it. Now again, nothing's for certain, but that's my goal. Oh, here we go with the hopping again. There. You know how hard it is to put your right leg in the stirrup, Dixie? Got me tied up like a pretzel here. Just stop moving.
Not quite as easy as the left side, is it?
It never is.
Does she feel your toe going into or right around the cinch area?
No, I don't have her toe or my toe in her belly. I pretty much just got it enough that I'm hanging here like a silly person. All right, I'm gonna have to have this conversation up top. Atta girl. Time to get on or get off, right, sweetie? Good job. Hanging there too long is just kind of showing her that I'm vulnerable. If I can get on and talk to her till she stands still, I think that'll be better use of my time. Hey, sweetie. That's the look. That's why we picked you. See there, her first reaction is to want to put me back on that other eye. No surprises. Just something to be aware of when I step in the middle of her. She's going to want to be on that left eye then more than she's going to want to be on the right. Whoops, grabbed the wrong strand. There, that's that chin, girl. That's the stuff. All right. Good girl. Thank you. Dixie's making me work for it today. Okay, so when I get on a horse for the first time, which we are definitely going to do here, she feels born ready. I kind of like to have an idea of what I'm looking for to get off of her. I don't want to just get on and wait and see what happens and then be like, oh, well, we got to ride. What I want to be able to do is pull on her and have her respond softly in the face, and I want to see if I can get her to move softly off the leg. If I can accomplish those things, I'm going to feel like that was a successful ride, put her away, hopefully get more sleep tonight than I did last night. Hey, darling. You guys can imagine what she's going to feel like when that right leg goes over the back of my saddle. There, that was a quick fix. Atta girl. All right. Anybody think she's going to buck? There's a few hands in there, yeah. Little girl in the front row looks pretty confident she's going to give it to me. I think with her just sitting here slow playing her isn't do either of us any justice. The more I can get up here and kind of let her know I'm here, her and I can find some comfort, that's going to create the confidence I'm missing from ground to back. Hey, darling. Now you can tell she's uncomfortable. She just don't know what to do. So right now to start picking up and going at her, it would be a little unnecessary to where if I can let her do a little bit of mental math right now till she'll let out and soften like she usually does, I think that'll be a good use of my time. And then once she's ready, I can pick up and start teaching her something.
9 minutes left. Cade,
Oh,
9.
boy.
I meant to tell you at 10, but I got so engrossed in watching you that it got away on me here.
Yeah, it's like NASCAR, right? Nobody wants to see me get hurt, but you guys wouldn't mind seeing a crash. So here where I feel her a little stuck in her face, it's a great opportunity for me to add leg. And what I'm going to do is, I might not get to the right today, but I'm darn sure going to get to where I can get her moving off the left leg. And then when I switch my rope around, I'm going to get her moving off the right leg. But I want to really make sure she understands right leg and then right leg separately before I ever add both. And just to kind of firm up that move off pressure we've been talking about since the start. There. I want that rein really connected to them hips. And she's given me a good chance at moving her here because she has a hard time sitting still. But when she's not sitting still, she's kind of wanting to wander the wrong direction. She keeps trying to switch eyes. So what I'm doing is the same pattern I did in the ground tie. Every time she walks off, I'm going to pick up, move her till she's soft, and then let go. Till I can find her have a little piece with me up here. And as soon as that's accomplished, I feel like I can step off her. Good girl. Still just, see how she's just itchy? She's not really moving, but she's not really not moving. She just needs some confidence with me up here, and I feel like after that we'll be on the road. The face right there is better than I could have hoped for, so I'm happy with that. As soon as you say it, eh? Just like kids. My kids are so well behaved. Your kids are screaming under the bleachers. Yeah. Atta girl. Pressure and release is how I'm going to get her to where she understands my pattern here. So I pull on her till I get that. I pull on her for the same reason until I get the same thing. And that pattern is going to get her to where she finds comfort in me being up here, the same as she did with me on the ground. Hey, doll. We're going to need to do some more ground tie tomorrow morning, I bet you. Just quit your moving. No, that way ain't going to cut it there, Dixie. You can just give me a 2-minute there, Hugh. I just want to kind of take my time, so.
Sure, you got 6.5 left now.
Perfect. I feel like I can get her unsaddled in 2. Now, if she kind of is walking around and stuff, I don't want to discourage that. I just want to make sure I have control at her at all times. And asking her to move until she's soft has been working really, really good. But I feel like she's just feeling it out right now, and she's maybe a little touchier under there than I thought she was going to be. But right there is about as good as I could ask her. Just think for a minute instead of just being itchy the whole time. Wait and see how she takes it. No, not that way. Atta girl. That way will do. Nice job. I'd like to just stay up here until I kind of hit that 2-minute warning and make sure I put her bed tonight without any nightmares. Nothing but fairy tales, eh, Dixie? Good girl. She's not really doing too bad, though, considering how nervous she was when I started stepping on her. I'm happy at how she kind of turned around there, and she's thinking. You always, famous last words always roll through your head when you're in these deals, because you kind of got to say, like, oh, things are going good, and then you just wait to see right after, like, they still going good? Good girl. Hey, doll. You are all right.
I don't think you feel any kind of a hump there.
No, she feels pretty good. It's her, it's not being able to settle. And I feel like moving her out and stuff, if I went to pushing her around, she'd probably move out really nice. We're going to have a couple moments, but I don't think it'll be too bad. I just want her to kind of have a good feeling about when I'm done here today, and that's what I feel like I'm missing when she won't settle. I feel like she just can't find that comfort in the saddle, and it's not always something you're going to get done in 45 minutes, but I'm really trying to give her the best shake. Backing into a fence would be a little detrimental to our confidence building plan. Atta girl. There. Good girl. And go wherever you want, as long as I can see your left eye. There. And our goal was to get her to where she was soft in the face and I could move her off my leg. Every time I pick up on her and she's rigid, I add that left leg to push her hip around to the right, and that goal's been accomplished. I wish she was a little more confident with me being up here, but as far as getting one soft, she sure let me play that game really, really nice here today. So if we get that right side ironed out tomorrow and a little more confidence, she should be smooth sailing, eh, sweetie? There is a type of horse that are going to be hard to get off, and I think you guys are looking at it. Going to have to start moving, get her stuck here a little bit.
3.5 left now. Oh, nice.
Good girl. Thank you. Just kind of take her for a bit of a walk here and let her chew on that. That might be our biggest hurdle, because so far we've run into very few that weren't just a small talking to. Go ahead and pull her saddle and make sure she's comfortable with all that. That's going to be a bit of an issue, I'm sure. Make sure she feels good with it. Gosh, I barely worked her. Look how warm she is. Good girl. Good job. Hey.
We're at 2 minutes now.
Perfect. I didn't do my cinches up last time because somebody told me I had 40 seconds, so I freaked out and pulled my saddle off. Now I can put my cinches up. Play with the feet for a minute. Atta girl. Thank you. All right, let's see what you think of that. You like moving them so much, you like picking them up? Now, these colts have all been trimmed. There's no surprises in here with that, but you are gonna find some refusals sometimes, or if nothing else, an opportunity to make them better. So sometimes people say, well, obviously that horse has been trimmed. Shouldn't be so hard to pick up their feet. Well, I know 10-year-old rope horses, they still got a twitch to put shoes on, so more work we can do here, the better. Hey, sweetie.
1 minute to go. 1 minute.
Yes, sir. Good girl, doll. Yeah. Switch eyes for me. I like it. Hey, that right there. Good girl. One more. Come on, Dixie. There, do your
There
stuff.
you go. 30 seconds.
All right. That's it for us, folks. Thank you.
Kade Mills and Dixie, very nice job. Any questions or anything, meet Kade over at his booth right over there, and he'll be glad to discuss anything that you might wonder about. And as soon as we can get horses switched in the arena groomed, it'll be Trevor Mertes. He had a great session this morning, really interesting, and I'm sure looking forward to watching him.